everyone, it is Ben, Heather, and Megan. 6 months ago, on the 1-year anniversary of the World Health Organization declaring a pandemic, we filmed a video in which we talked about 5 things that we miss since the pandemic started. It has now been 6 months since we made that video. The pandemic is still going strong, and so we're going to give you a 6-month update to those 5 things that we miss, because some of them have changed.
Okay, so number 1 is going to the movies. We have gone to the movies a few times now. At the beginning, or like when the movie theaters were first starting to open up, they had private showings. So you could book an entire theater to yourselves and just go see the movie by yourself without the risk of anyone else being in there. Even then, we did keep our masks on most of the time in case someone had been in there before us. And then there was like a period where the pandemic sort of started clearing up, and during that time, we felt safe enough to go to the movies when there were other people there. However, right now, our movie theater has assigned seating, and so you pick your seats before you go into the theater. And if you get there first, you have no control over whether or not someone comes and sits like right next to you. At the beginning, their system of assigned seating automatically social distance guests, but we don't think they're doing that anymore.
No, I don't think so.
Because, like, we always get there first, pretty much.
We're early people.
We're very early to the movies.
And we have preferred seats.
Yeah, we have
Middle
preferred
and the back.
seats.
Yep.
We're mean. We steal the best seats
Seats
in
in
the
the theater.
house. We steal the top back row in the middle. But if we get there first, and then other people come in, we have no control over whether or not they sit like 1-2 seats away from us.
Or even right next to us.
Right next to us. And we don't feel safe when that happens. Especially because the theater does not have a mask mandate. And so people like come in and aren't wearing their masks. And they sit real close to us, and it's not comfortable for us because we don't feel safe. And that has happened once or twice.
Yeah,
and we've actually moved seats. Mom runs out and tells the staff we would like to move seats. And then we move to the seats we want that are away from the people and sit there. And then once we're settled, she goes out and tells the staff again where we're sitting so they can change our seats.
That's what you're supposed to do. So, following up with what Megan said, we saw Raya and the Last Dragon for Ben's birthday in a private showing. We saw Cruella.
I think that was the first one.
That was the first thing we went to during the pandemic. We saw Cruella for Megan's birthday as a private showing.
Yeah.
And then we haven't gone to a lot. And the main reason we haven't gone to very many movies is there still aren't very many movies coming out that we want to see.
But I would say the ones that are coming out are really good.
Yeah, they are. We saw A Quiet Place 2,
Black
Widow, Jungle Cruise. Okay. We want to go see Free Guy, but after our last experience, which Megan just alluded to, which happened when we went to see Jungle Cruise, we're kind of nervous because before vaccination really got going, they were having a mask mandate at our movie theater, and everybody was wearing masks, and it was mandated that the customers and the people going to the movies wear masks too. But then they got rid of that, and nobody at the movie theater was wearing masks except us. I mean, nobody was required to. But then this last time we went, the employees are wearing masks again, but they're not requiring customers to wear masks. At one point, I think it was when we went to see Black Widow. We tried going on a Tuesday, which is $5 day at our movie theater, and it was so busy.
Oh,
No,
Remember that?
No, that was not one. No, that was I was gonna see F9. You were gonna see Cruella.
Oh, that's right.
Oh,
That's right. We went to go to a movie. Yeah, Ben's right. And we left. We left because it was so busy and nobody was wearing masks.
It was for my movie though, because there was literally no.
Oh, yeah. When we went to pick the seats for Ben's movie, there was no way for him to space himself.
There was like one seat where's the good spot is like in the back of the middle. But there was people like everywhere.
Yeah, so he couldn't. So we decided to leave that day. And then I actually messaged the movie theater because they're really good about keeping in touch with people on Facebook Messenger. I told them what happened, that we left. And I asked them, what days of the week would you suggest we come when it would be the least busy? because since they're not offering those private showings that Megan talked about anymore, we want to pick a time when there's going to be as few people there as possible so we have the most chance of sitting distant from people. And so they told me Monday afternoons and Thursday afternoons. This last movie that we saw, which things have been starting to get bad again with the pandemic, but the movie theater is not requiring customers to wear masks. We went to the movie theater, we got our ideal seats in the back, in the middle, and then groups of people came and sat right on either side of us, and it was two things. One, they were not wearing masks, and secondly, they had young kids with them who we know can't be vaccinated. And that made us very uncomfortable. And so we ended up having to move twice, because we moved once, and then before I got a chance to go out and do what Megan said and tell them that we had changed our seats, another woman and a young son who was too young to be vaccinated came, and we were actually sitting in their seats. And so then we had to move again. We don't feel real comfortable because there's a lot of people going to the movie theater not wearing masks, and there's a lot of kids going to the movies who we know are too young to be vaccinated, and they're in their maskless. We've already decided that if we go to more movies while the pandemic is bad again like it is now, that we're not going to get anything to eat or drink, or at least we're going to wait until like the movie starts, and then if nobody else is there or nobody's near us or the other people are wearing masks or something, then I'll go out right when the movie starts and buy us popcorn and soda and stuff. Otherwise, but that's kind of a bummer because
missing the beginning of the movie really sucks.
Yeah, missing the beginning of the movie sucks, and so does also having to sit there and watch a movie without your movie snacks.
I don't really care.
I think
there's so many problems.
it really does add to the experience.
Yeah, it does.
It's just like a thing.
Yeah.
That's why they're there.
Okay, good job, Meg. All right, live theater. We have not gone to any live theater yet. Still, because there hasn't been any. Everything's still closed, really. They're talking about opening things up. Now, the next thing that we would go to is we have tickets to Anastasia in December.
We've had those for like years.
They've gotten changed multiple times, and I think it's going to go in December. But I'm apprehensive now about going to that.
Yeah.
Because we're probably going to be right next to each other. But now, okay, I have a question about this. Broadway in New York City is requiring everyone to wear masks, and you have to be vaccinated. This is touring Broadway. And so I was saying to Megan just yesterday, wasn't it? Wouldn't you think that the touring Broadway would also want the same requirements for their touring productions to protect their performers and their crew? But the theater where the Anastasia is in Minneapolis that we have the tickets to only says they are requiring people to wear masks. It doesn't say anything about vaccinations or negative COVID tests or anything like that. And even our local theater, the big theater where Megan's performed in the past, they're requiring either vaccination or a negative COVID test to get in there to shows when they open their season in September here.
Did we find out if they were requiring
No,
masks?
I don't know if they're requiring masks though, and I don't like that either. I want both.
Yeah.
I only feel comfortable if it's masks and vaccination, or I prefer the vaccination, but if vaccination or a negative COVID test.
I would say with the Delta, if you're not vaccinated, please still wear a mask, and then I would feel safer.
Yeah, but I mean, if they're requiring masks, honestly, the masks makes me feel even more comfortable than the vaccination.
Yeah, because even if it's like a surgical or
Yeah.
wearing it properly, that makes us really
Another person being vaccinated does nothing to protect me.
Yeah.
You can still get the Delta variant, you can still get the virus and be contagious. That's what the new studies show. Even if you're vaccinated, you could be asymptomatic, carrying the virus. Vaccinated people, they have now proven, have just as much virus in their respiratory tract as unvaccinated people. So they're just as contagious and can carry the virus and spread it around just as easily as an unvaccinated person. Now, the vaccinated person, like we all are less likely to get very seriously ill, hospitalized, and die, but you can still get the virus, you can still get sick, and you can still spread it. So for me, having the masks on is the key thing. so that you're not spreading it. And I guess I'm just not comfortable going to any theater
Yeah.
if people aren't masked. The other thing about going to Anastasia is I don't know what Ben's gonna do.
We can't leave him with our grandparents. That's
No,
not safe.
we don't feel comfortable with that. And also, Andrew doesn't live here anymore. Andrew doesn't live in Minnesota anymore because that would have been a possibility. Back when we booked the tickets and the show was supposed to be like a year and a half ago or whatever, he could have done that. And it's a 2-hour drive, just one way. So it'd be 2 hours there, 2 hours back, and then like 2.5, 3 hours for the show. I'm not comfortable leaving him alone. That'd be over a meal and everything, home alone that long. What do you think?
He wouldn't eat.
2 other shows coming up that I was considering that are supposed to happen. I did want to take Ben to see A Christmas Carol at the Guthrie. I may put that off for another year. They are doing it, and the Guthrie in Minneapolis is requiring masks and vaccination. But I don't know. I'm just not sure about it. And then also, Come From Away, another touring Broadway production, is coming in January. I don't think the tickets are even on sale yet. I really, really would like to go to that. But again, I want to see how things are.
Going to theme parks?
Have we been to a theme park in the last 6 months?
Yes.
Where did we go?
Busch Gardens.
In?
Virginia?
Yeah, Williamsburg, Virginia. There's 2 Busch Gardens.
So, no, I was like, where over there is it?
Yep. How did you like it?
It was nice, but I was a little disappointed because I didn't ride any of the rides because I'm scared of big drops.
You did not ride any rides.
I rode like 2 rides.
He rode like 6. I rode 3.
We rode
It wasn't 6.
we rode the what was it called? The
Invader.
Invader, and then we rode the
Invader?
most dangerous child roller
Yeah,
coaster
he
of all
only
time.
rode 2.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And the
two.
swings.
And then the swings.
And the swings
that's
and
it.
the battering ram and
Oh,
the
yeah.
train.
The train's not
The
really.
train's not
The
really-
train is a ride. Who
The
thinks
train-
It's
the
more like an enjoyment.
The train is a
Like-
different type of
who
ride.
thinks the train
It's-
is a ride?
No,
It's transportation.
It's transportation. It's not like a. It's not on the
Like-
same level as like roller coasters. It's a ride, but not that type of ride. It's a ride as
Yeah,
in you
okay.
ride in a car.
Megan rode the most. She did a bunch of stuff by herself. I think Ben did 4 or 5 rides. I did 3.
I just wanted to go on my roller coasters. That was
But
nice.
okay, beyond that, how did you guys feel from a safety perspective?
Honestly, I didn't feel there was never a point where I felt unsafe.
I
at
agree.
Busch
But
Gardens.
wasn't that before the Delta?
Yes, it was before the Delta, and it was before the information about our vaccines waning.
It was during that one little period where
light.
where it seemed like maybe things were getting better, and they were. That was before things got really bad again, and we were outside.
No masks.
We wore our masks sometimes, but like it was open enough that we didn't need to.
Yeah, it's almost entirely outside.
Yeah. I don't think.
And it wasn't very crowded.
Yeah, and it wasn't very crowded. I think they were doing limited capacity.
Yeah.
Honestly, though, I'd hate to see then what maximum capacity is because,
Yeah.
yikes.
But we never had to wait very long in line. I don't think there was any social distancing in the lines, though, was there?
No, I think they were meant to be. Like, there were spacing markers, but, like, nobody followed them.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of kids.
There
too.
were a lot of kids, which we know would be unvaccinated. I mean, but I guess I remember feeling at that time, this was in June, we felt pretty free and fine and happy and thought everything was great. So we didn't get sick, we didn't get the virus, but the next theme park we're supposed to go to is Disney World in January. Now, Florida is a train wreck. We are still very apprehensive. We're really hoping we can all get our boosters before we go to Florida. The latest thing I saw was the government is saying they're actually going to give us the boosters 5 months after, which actually means my parents are already past due for their boosters. So I would get mine this month in September if they can get that going fast enough. So if we could all get our boosters before we go to Florida, I will feel a lot more comfortable about going. And as long as Disney keeps that indoor mask mandate in place, that will also make me feel a lot more comfortable. But the crowds at Disney are something else. And how do you guys feel? Would you want to go to Walt Disney World right now with the things are the way they are at the moment? Otherwise, we don't have any other theme park plans right now. Around where we live, theme parks aren't open except in the summer. And, summer's basically over now. So it's unlikely we would go to any other theme park this year.
Okay, number 4 is flying in an airplane. We have flown in an airplane 4 times now.
Yeah.
2 trips. The first trip was our Baltimore trip in June. We flew down and then we flew back. And then again to Boston in just this August. I believe...
Mandatory federal mask mandate.
There was a mandatory federal mask mandate for all planes and all airports. And they were very serious about it. They gave us multiple warnings on the plane that if you did not wear your mask, if you refused to wear your mask, you would be kicked off the plane.
And fines and criminal charges.
Yeah, all sorts of bad stuff. So wear your mask. But in June, was that? Oh yeah, obviously it was. That was the trip where we went to Busch Gardens. And so that was the little period where things were okay. And so we didn't quite feel as uncomfortable on a plane. It was an odd experience because we hadn't been on a plane in
2 years.
2 years.
Yeah. More than 2 years.
Yeah, it was
March.
It was a long time. And so the general just experience of being on a plane was kind of like refreshing our memories and stuff. But we wore cloth masks.
Just cloth masks, yeah.
And we felt okay with that. And, we were near people, but we didn't get sick. On all 4 flights, as we stepped into the plane, the flight attendants were there handing us little disinfectant wipes so that we could wipe off our area, like the arms of our seat and the tray and the screen. So that was nice. On the second trip, we wore KN95 masks because we felt that we were more comfortable wearing those, first of all, because they gave us a little more space to breathe, but it's also proven that those are safer at controlling the virus.
Especially the Delta variant. Than cloth masks and even surgical masks.
Wasn't that on the way back, though?
We weren't... on the way out, we wore the KN95s and you wore a cloth mask. But then you tried the K95 and said you were okay with it. So on the way back, all 3 of us wore the KN95s.
Ben didn't like the KN95s at first.
It was just... The first time I wore one when we got my last haircut or whatever, it was totally fine. But then that, random one, it, didn't fit on my face right.
That particular mask?
Yeah, it's like it wasn't... It was made different or something.
The KN95s, first of all, I feel... Even though they feel safer, it's also a little easier to breathe. And I think it's because you don't have fabric
touching,
pressing right up against your nose and mouth.
There's a little space.
Obviously, we can still breathe fine with any masks, but the KN95, it was like a little pocket around our nose and mouth.
And with the cloth mask, when you breathe, it, comes in, but it's nice.
Right, it moves.
It moves, but, when you have the big one, it's,
it has a shape, a form.
Yeah, it doesn't move or anything.
Yeah.
It's stiff.
Yeah.
How do you feel? What do you think about that? Go ahead.
And then on top of that, the KN95s have a little nose bar that you can adjust to your face, and that makes it fit more snugly on your face and also more secure, so that less air is coming around the edges.
One thing for me on the second flights that we took to Boston and back when things were worse again, you guys noticed they still got, when the service came through, I didn't have anything. I didn't have anything to eat or drink when the service came through. But they went ahead, which I was fine with. I just didn't feel comfortable taking. I left my mask on for the entire time we were on the plane. How did you guys feel about in the airport?
Fine, we just went through it.
The airport was fine.
It's nice and
security
open.
Felt dirty, but security always feels dirty.
We're pretty good at finding places to sit off by ourselves and go away from everybody. When we came back, because we had to switch our flight you'll see this in an upcoming video, we had to switch our flight and come home 2 days early because of Hurricane Henri. We had to sit in the airport for 5, 6, 7 hours waiting to go home. And we went way over to some gate where there was nobody and sat by ourselves. So It was easy enough. I know that the TSA has reported that flight traffic is way down again. On our flights to and from Baltimore in June, both flights were completely full. But on our flights to and from Boston in August, they weren't. So there were fewer people flying in August than there were in June.
Remember, we wanted to hop on the Amsterdam plane.
Oh, yeah.
It was the next gate over.
One gate over, there was a big plane going to Amsterdam, and we're like, can we take that one? I just read, and the Brian Kelly from The Points Guy today said he feels much safer in Europe than he does in the United States, and I totally believe it.
Great.
And for the most part, people are being very good about the mask mandate. I mean, people will take off their masks to eat something, but then they'll put it back on. You only would see one or two people who were being... It's like, come on, people, put your mask on, you know? But I mean, yeah, you look so out of place. You're like the only person who doesn't have a mask on. Put your mask on. So, I mean, but they're pretty rare. People are being pretty good in the airports. Okay, the last thing is cruising. We have not gone on a cruise. It's been 3 years now exactly 3 years since our last cruise. We don't have any plans to take a cruise. I have watched with great interest all of the other vloggers' videos about taking cruises, and I'm all happy for them and everything, but we're high risk. The CDC is back to giving the same recommendations for high risk people with cruising as they did at the very beginning of the pandemic, that it should be avoided. So, and also cruising is still just not the same at all. And now every cruise line is requiring testing, and we still don't want to go through with the testing. Now, I need to clarify, it's not just that we really don't want to do the testing, which we don't, but I feel, and if you've watched Don's Family Vacations channel, he's talked about this quite a bit because he's run into some real problems. I made a video about this, and I'm going to link it up here. I just think there's so many problems with testing. And for us particularly, since we live in the upper Midwest and we're going to have to fly a considerable distance to go on any cruise, and we're going to have to get there the day before and all of that, I just think there's far too much risk of testing positive or testing positive on the ship or something, and our cruise being either we're refused boarding, or we get disembarked, or we get isolated to our stateroom or something, and that would suck. Okay?
Go home.
That's not fun at all. I want to go on my cruise. I don't want to be about to leave on my cruise that I've been saving up for and planning for months and find out we can't go because somebody tested positive. And now you got to deal with somebody's got COVID. And I really don't want to have our personal cruise, you know, number one, that's scary because we've gone through all this effort and sacrifice to avoid getting the virus. And if you go on the cruise and you test positive on the cruise, or you go on an international cruise and now you can't get back, you know, it's just too much risk to me. And how disappointing would that be to get there and not be able to go, or to get there and have your cruise cut short because you're either disembarked because you tested positive or you're isolated to your stateroom? That's not what I paid for. You know, and yeah, maybe they're going to give me my money back and give me a future cruise credit, but still, that would be a very negative,
I would rather be at home.
Bummer of an experience. Right. And so we're just going to put off cruising. We're really hoping that the testing requirements will go away. And the only way those testing requirements are going to go away, unfortunately, is for the pandemic to get a lot better. And the only way that's going to happen is a lot of people have to get vaccinated.
And cooperate.
Yes. And do their part, which a lot of people aren't. And so for us, cruising still seems like a long way off. And I'm especially really bummed because I had a really cool Alaskan cruise booked for my 50th birthday and I ended up canceling it. I mean, who knows if that exact cruise is even going to happen. But my birthday is less than a year. You know, my 50th birthday is next August. And I really want to do a cruise for my 50th birthday. And I don't know if we're going to be able to do that if this stuff hasn't changed and improved by then. So it's just feeling like a very long road. So of these 5 things, since we originally made this video 6 months ago, we have done 3 of the 5. And
same movies we've done the most.
Yeah, movies we've done the most. And we will potentially do those same 3 again in the near future. And we could very likely go to live theater maybe. But cruising is the one that is still kind of an out there unknown for us. So that's where we're at with the 5 things we miss. How many of these things have you guys done during the pandemic? And share your experiences in the comments below. I don't know if we'll do another update on this or not. Just be sure you're subscribed to the channel, and when we do any of these things, you'll see it because we'll make videos about it. Give us a thumbs up down below if you enjoyed this video. Thanks for taking the time to watch it today. Have a great day, everyone, and safe travels.
Safe travels.